Welcome to the Wisdom That Breathes channel. Across all our platforms, we try to share wisdom which is relevant and accessible to everyone. But on this particular platform, we go deeper into some of the ancient principles found within the scriptures. If you find some of the terminology difficult or inaccessible, then go over to our Keshava Swami YouTube channel where you'll be able to find other content which is perhaps more relatable. Thank you and enjoy the wisdom that breathes.
Thank you, Maharaj, for being an inspiration to the whole world. And thank you to all the devotees in the United Kingdom for carrying on Prabhupada's legacy in such exemplary ways. Great innovation and Vaishnava etiquette on all sides. We feel deeply honored to be here, my wife and I, Nirkala Devidasi and myself. And we'll start with a bhajan from Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Oh hey, Vaishnava Thakur, Doyara Sagara, Edase Karuna Kori. Dia Parachaya Shoro He Amai Tomara Charana Chaya Bhega Dhomi Chaya Dosha Shodhi Chaya Guna Devo Dasi Chaya Satsanga Deho He Amare Bhushasi Sange Rashi Ekaki Amar Nahi Pai Guru Hare Nama Sankirtane Tumi Kripa Kore Shradha Bindu Diya Deho Krishna Namadhane Krishna se tomar, Krishna dite paro, tomara shakati ache. Amito Kanga Krishna Krishna Boli Dai Tava Pache Pache Oh hey Vaishnava Thakur Doyara Sagara Dasi Gorura Kori. O Venerable Vaishnava Thakur, O Ocean of Mercy, be merciful to this servant of yours and purify me in the shade of your lotus feet. Your lotus feet I humbly hold. By helping me control the 6 urges and purifying me of the 6 faults, bestow upon your servant the 6 good qualities. O Master, please give me the 6 kinds of holy association. I have sat down here hoping to have your company. Alone, I do not find the strength to chant the holy name of Hari. Please be merciful and blessing me with a drop of faith. Bestow on me the great treasure of the holy name of Krishna. Krishna is yours, and you can give him to me, for such is your power. This wretch is simply running behind you, crying, Krishna, Krishna. Jaya Vaishnava Thakur, Vaishnava Thakur, Vaishnava Thakur, Jaya Vaishnava Thakur. Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Introduction to some of the thoughts I have tonight about understanding the heart of Krishna. I'd like to sing the Sri Dashavatara Stotram from Sri Gita Govinda by Jayadev Goswami. We could sing it in unison. How does that sound? Somebody set off the fire alarm already. We'll do it in that key anyway, so. Pralaya payogi jale dhritavana sivedam Vihitavahitra charitamagridam Keshavadrita Nakira Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Shri Havipulatare Janani Dharana Kina Chakravarishte Kesha Rita Urma Sharira Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jagadisha Vasati Dashana Shikare Shashanika Lankakalevani Kesha Madhika Shukara Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Kalita Hiranya Kashipu Tanu Kesha Paranaktarina Chandika Dhanapama Desha Adrika Mamaharupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Kshatriya Rukira Maiteja Papam Snapayasi Payasi Shavita Bhavatama Desha Adrika Vigupati Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jagadisha Hare Vikarasi Dikshurane Dikpatikam Niyam Dasha Muktanam Diparim Desha Adrika Rama Sharira Jai Jagadisha Hare Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman Ki Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Mahasiva Pushi Vishadeva Sanam Jaladavam Hamahati Viti Viditaya Munava Kesha Adrika Aladara Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Baladev Isha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Dasi Yadavade Ahaha Shuti Jatam Sadaya Hidaya Darshita Pashuka Kesha Adrika Jai Buddhadev Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Nachani Vahanitane Kalayasi Karavalam Dumakitumi Bhaktim Desh Abhadrita Kalki Sharira Jai, do it again. One more for Kalki Day. Jai Jagadisha Hare Jagadisha Hare Kalki, Kalki. Lechani Vahanitane Kalayasi Karavala Dumatikam Kibatimati Karana Kesha Adrika Kaluki Sharira Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jagadisha Hare Shidaya Deva Kakirina Muditam Budaram Shiyusukadam Shubhadam Bhavasaram Kesha Adrika Kashmira Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Other one, more cheerful to me. Let's say Vedandu darate jaganti vahate Bhutto nambuti vrate Daityam Dharayate Bhavim Charayate Shakya Shayam Purvate Alastyam Jayate Halam Kalayate Karunyamatam Vade Mechanurchayate Dashakriti Krite Krishnaya Tuvyam Namah. One more time. Mechanurchayate Dashakriti Krite Krishnaya Tuvyam Namah. Gaur Premanande Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Dena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manopishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadahmayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sadvadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. Hey Krishna, Karuna Sindho, Dina Bandho Jagatpate, Gopesha Gopika Kanta, Radha Kanta Namostude, Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi, Radhe Vrindavaneshwari, Rishabhanu Sute Devi, Pranamami Hari Priye, Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha, Patitanam Bhavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Lord Premanande Haribo. Just several months ago, when Nirakula and I were traveling back from India, I think we stopped in Hong Kong, and because we had a long layover, we went to this sky tram that leaves from Hong Kong, and it goes across the mountains of Hong Kong, and I had no idea where we were going to end up. I just wanted to see it, that is Hong Kong from the sky. And as we went further, we noticed that we were coming to some sort of civilization, and there was a town, and then we could see the silhouette of the Buddha, a gigantic Buddha, up on a hillside. And when we got down from the tram, there was a way to walk a mile or so to get up close. And I had gone up the steps all the way, it's a couple hundred steps to get up to the top. And the gigantic form of the Buddha was there against the sky. And when I looked up into the sky, I could see the Buddha. And then on another side, I saw a jet flying across. And in the middle was the moon. And it struck me as I was walking down the steps that it represented something. And to me, it represented the advancement of science, how to make a jet to fly through the air is a conundrum to me, but somebody figured it out. And people fly all the time now, and they can't stop. And I was thinking of how many thousands and tens of thousands of people were coming up there regularly to see the Buddha. And I was thinking, what's he doing there? He's sitting. And on the other side was the jet flying frenetically through the sky, delivering people to business meetings or vacations where they'll move about vigorously. And I thought, well, what's so famous about the Buddha? He's just sitting there. And it dawned on me that there's a way in which people moving about the world, seeing things, touching things, smelling things, trying to create new things, never take a chance, or an opportunity, I should say, to sit and see what's inside. And they miss the opportunity of life that's afforded to all human beings. And today when we were down in Nottingham, the Tirtha, because Kripa Moy Prabhu is from here, and received his first books in the very, I think, somewhere near the square where we were. And when I heard that, I got enlivened to more vigorously distribute books in the hopes, although it's a long shot, by probably millions of years, to see if we get another Kripa Moya out of the milk ocean there. And yeah, go ahead. You can, it's a family atmosphere. That's all. Kripa Moy. One more time, but. And we met there many people, but two stood out in my mind. It was two young people who were in university. One of them was studying criminology, and the other was studying law. And one of them was named Zach, and I forget the other guy's name. Drew and Zach. And they were innocent, although not overwhelmingly enthusiastic about it. They were open. And when I saw them standing there with the sky in their background, I was thinking about Krishna's way of reaching out to everybody in this world, giving them an opportunity to be happy. And I felt joyful to be part of it there, to be one of the servants that gets to help extend Krishna's mercy, extend his heart to people. And the verse, although it seems slightly obscure, I find poetical and moving. And I'm going to read it to you. Does that sound good? Yes. Okay, 5 people said yes. Everybody else, cover your ears very tightly. This is, of all places, from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, and it's the 5th chapter, 6th verse. You don't necessarily have to put it up if it's troublesome, but I think you'll like hearing this. Speaking about the Supreme Personality of Godhead when he's manifesting the creation. He lies down on his own heart spread in the form of the sky. And thus placing the whole creation in that space, he expands himself into many living entities who are manifested as different species of life. He does not have to endeavor for his maintenance because he is the master of all mystic powers and the proprietor of everything. Thus he is distinct from the living entities. And Prabhupada gives this short purport. The questions regarding creation, maintenance, and destruction, which are mentioned in many parts of the Srimad Bhagavatam, are in relation to different millenniums, kalpas, and therefore they are differently described by different authorities when questioned by different students. There is no difference regarding the creative principles and the Lord's control over them, yet there are some differences in the minute details because of different kalpas. The gigantic sky is the material body of the Lord, called the Virat Rupa, and all material creations are resting on the sky or the heart of the Lord. Therefore, beginning from the sky, the first material manifestation to the gross vision down to the earth, everything is called Brahman. Sarvam Kalavidam Brahma. There is nothing but the Lord, and he is one without a second. The living entities are the superior energies, whereas matter is the inferior energy, and the combination of these energies brings about the manifestation of this material world, which is the heart of the Lord. I found the description of the manifestation of the sky, the first material manifestation that comes to the gross vision, as the heart of the Lord extended. Since I read this verse recently, whenever I look out and see the sky, I think of how enveloping it is. We're standing under it apparently all the time, as it seems to be slightly curved to the eye, at least to mine. And there's a way in which Krishna, as described in the prayers by the personified Vedas, does his most important, or enacts his most important pastime in this world by giving an opportunity for all of the living entities in this material manifestation who have errantly entered within it to enjoy separately from the Lord. And in every conceivable way, he extends his heart to every living entity, because the material manifestation is Krishna. It's his energy, and the heart of Krishna is manifested as the sky. So, in the beginning of creation, there's a way in which Krishna's lila is to extend himself. There's unlimited living entities, and they become embedded in the material world. We read this morning from Prayers Personified Vedas, Prabhupada's description of it in the Krishna book, in which he describes how every living being is Chaitana. And that means, he says, that everyone has made a choice. He said stones and material elements don't make a choice, but living entities do. From moment to moment, they make choices because they're conscious. And therefore, he said, everyone is rightly placed. Krishna is fulfilling the desires of everyone in all parts of the creation. Sapari gachukram akayam avranam ashnaviram shudam apapavidam kaviramanishi paribu swayambur yatat yatyator tam vyaradasya satibhya samabhyaha. The Upanishads describe Krishna as the all-accommodating. He's there, been fulfilling every living entity's desire since a time immemorial. And in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna mentions that when we become ensconced in the material world, we are overcome by three psychological stumbling blocks. raga, bhaya, and krodha. And the raga means that we mistakenly attach ourselves to the material energy. It seems like a good idea because it's a reflection of reality. And in the 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna mentions that the material world, na rupama seha tato palabhyate nanto nachadir nachamprajishta. In this section of the Bhagavad Gita, he talks about how the manifestation of the world is a gigantic banyan tree. We can't see where it ends or where it begins, but he describes it as a reflection of the spiritual world. So each living being is helplessly attached to the material world, not entirely helplessly, but by default, because there's no other option except for what we come out into in the material world. And when we see the variety of the material world, we engage with it. This is raga. We have this intimate connection with the material world, apparently, because we see it as desirable. And then he says, bhaya, there's a fearfulness that we develop as a psychological blockade to our freedom, which is that we become afraid of our personhood. There are lots of people who come to the conclusion, Prabhupada says in his description of this phenomena, psychological phenomena, which is that one experiences the material world again and again and feels inconvenienced by it. That sounds like a understatement, the inconvenience of the material world. It's actually described in the Srimad Bhagavatam that because of our experience in the material world and feeling forlorn and an emptiness because of separation from the Lord but having no other options, there's an ocean of tears here in the material world from all the living entities who are crying in separation. This is unbearable pain in the hearts of the living entities, who then come to an erroneous conclusion that the ultimate goal of life is to be nothing. And as Prabhupada describes, one who's ill and has a hard time swallowing or making any of the bodily functions, then may think that death is a better option. So there's a sense in which many people come to this feeling that I'd rather not exist. This is a sense of fear. And then krodha means that there's anger, because there's so many explanations of why people are suffering, and most of them are incomplete. And because of hearing incomplete solutions to these intractable problems, people become angry and develop cynicism towards any idea of a supreme personality of Godhead. It becomes ingrained in the whole society. And Krishna has the impetus to reach out to all of these living entities, and he does so through his devotees, to give everyone a chance to feel the heart of Krishna, to know that he's a person. When I was discussing recently with Kripamoy Prabhu and some of my other beloved senior God brothers and sisters, the ways in which when we preach, oftentimes there's a conundrum of how much to present to people about God's personality. If you've ever spoken somewhere where there's a new audience, or if you've written something and you're getting to the point and it comes to a juncture where you have to describe the Supreme, you might then equivocate. This was a case with Srila Vyasadeva, apparently, because Narada Muni in the 5th chapter of the Bhagavatam tells him that you didn't very clearly talk about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You've given many Puranas and many ideas about how to adjust yourself in this world, but you haven't given the straight information about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So I was saying, well, in our writings and so forth, what to do about this. And Kripamoy Prabhu said, we'll write a book called Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and put 54 pictures in it of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and then have it distributed by the millions all over the world, which is obviously what Srila Prabhupada has done. And that's the desire of Krishna, that everyone gets an opportunity to come to know Krishna's heart. So Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita mentions that he's there within our hearts. This is amazing. Ishvara sarvabhutanam hridaya arjuna tishtiti brahmayan sarvabhutani yantra rujani mayaya. That's wherever we go, Krishna is right there with us. And what's more, he's providing intelligence for us whenever we want it, and also forgetfulness if we desire to forget him. So we have this opportunity in the human form of life, and everyone has this opportunity, but it requires the touch of Krishna's heart in our life. Oh, thank you. Do I have it? Yeah. We'll test it out. Speaking of the lay of the land, we have this number line in which the material world is negative numbers. Whatever we do, we're creating more debt, and we're getting ourselves into more trouble by our activities. You may look like you're getting to a bigger number, but it's actually negative. And then people come to this point of relief and saying, I'll take 0. But 0 is 0 after all. But we get the opportunity to understand the positive numbers when we come in contact with devotees, and devotees give us the Shastra. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said to Sanatana Goswami that the living entity doesn't come out of material nature automatically. It's not swata. But it requires the intervention of knowledge. Maya mugda jiver nahi swata Krishna gyan jiver kripaya koila Krishna Veda Puran. He said that nobody comes out of ignorance automatically. But Krishna, Dvaipana Vyasadeva, has given the Shastra as a way that when one in the human form of life reads it, hears it, then it gives them this awakening. They can understand their actual position and come into the positive numbers. So we're in a universe that Krishna has created, and as the Sri Upanishad says, Tadejati tandajati tadure tadvantike tarantarasya sarvasya tarusa sarvasya bhayataha. That the Lord is far away, but he is very near as well. He is within everything, and yet he is outside of everything. And within the creation, if one can come to knowledge, one can see Krishna within everything. We see the sky and we can feel that Krishna is reaching out to us. He's, as we say, the sky's the limit. There's an unlimited possibility within this span of life that we have, because Krishna's made the creation especially to be responsive to us. Or rather, he's responding to us through his creation and also from within the heart, and he's giving us opportunities to align ourselves again with our spiritual nature. In the opening, Maharaj, when you talked about the title of this convention, what do I call it? Festival. Convention sounds rather stodgy. So rise. There's a statement by Bhaktivinoda Thakur that says that every living being can rise in due course of time. And in the Bhagavad Gita, in one of his purports, Prabhupada refers to a verse in the Vedanta Sutra. So I followed that thread, and Srila Vyasadeva has written that every living being is certainly an agent for change and can rise in due course of time. Why? The logic. Because he says that all of the scriptures say that your duty is to improve yourself, and that the goal of life is for all human beings to come to perfect knowledge, which results in loving Krishna. Savai pumsam parodharmo yato bhaktir dhuksaje haitukiya pratiyata yayatma suprasidati. That's the ultimate goal for everyone. Now, someone may say, I'm too overwhelmed by the material world, or I don't see my way out. Even Devahuti says it to Kapila Dev in the third canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, when she tells him that it seems like I am my body and mind, and that I've been so since time immemorial, and how will I ever come out of this situation? Well, Srila Vyasadeva says, don't worry, you can. Because who is the scripture talking to? Us. Otherwise, who's the audience for all these admonitions that you should take up the process, hearing and chanting, you should take to improving yourself? The Vedic project is to show everyone how to rise in due course of time. So he said if it wasn't possible, these statements wouldn't make any sense at all. So that's encouraging, don't you think? Say yes. The front row say yes, but everyone in the back is still doubtful. And so what we have is a universe that's full of possibilities. I hate to use this cliche again, but the sky's the limit, in the sense that one could achieve anything in this lifetime because Krishna is right there with us in the form of the sky, what to speak of in everyone's heart. And we can also notice that Krishna is responsive. This is an exciting discovery that everyone's waiting for, and it's part of the conundrum mentioned by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita of Ragabhaya Krodha, that, there's nobody there. In fact, there are people who write whole books about how nobody's there. In fact, I was talking to a professor recently, and we were discussing meditation because he asked me if I'd give him a guided meditation. And then when we were discussing, he says that he told me that he does meditation, but the ultimate goal of it was to realize that he didn't exist or that he was nothing. I mean, you read about these things, but when you actually hear it from somebody, and I was thinking, how would one do that? So the fact that Krishna is responsive means that, as he says in the Bhagavad Gita, well, it doesn't mean that, but Krishna says, I'm your best friend, and I am responsive to everything that you do. And so when we're beginning in the process of reaching out to Krishna and feeling his heart, we can be very attentive to the ways in which Krishna is responsive. For instance, Krishna mentions that he's there, sarvasya chaham hridisani vishto, mataksmitir gana mapoham cha. He's there giving intelligence from within the heart, and Prabhupada describes that in the second canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam to be the way a father might speak to a son and give good advice. And he said Prabhupada mentions that you can notice this, that Krishna is giving direction from within the heart. And also, everything Krishna says that we do as a gesture towards him, he responds. He responds to. Ye yata mam prapadyante tamstataiva bhajamyaham mama manavartante. It's a close-knit group, so you could finish my sentences for me. Try it again. Ye yata mam prapadyante tamstataiva bhajamyaham mama manavartante. Amazing statement Krishna makes that however you reach out to me, however you approach me, I will respond. A while back, there was this disaster in Malaysia when a flight took off, or perhaps it was in another country and it was headed for Malaysia, but it got lost. And they never found it. It had gone off course somehow, and there's a black box. Have you heard of the black box? There's a pulse, an electronic pulse that it gives, and apparently you'll be able to find the plane if it's gone off course. And the black box wasn't working, so it went off course and nobody could find it. I heard about that, I read about it, and for some reason it vexed me. It was really, I was thinking about the people on that plane who had gone off course, they didn't know where they were, and even if they had made a landing somewhere, nobody could find them anyway. And one day when I was chanting my japa, I was thinking about those people being lost like that. And then I started thinking, I'm kind of like that. And then I was thinking that the sound I was making, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. It's like that little pulse from the black box that here I am, I'm here. I'm totally lost, but please respond. We want response. If you've ever been in a situation when you're close to somebody, if you've gotten in an argument, and then somebody stops talking to you. Has anybody ever had that happen? Nobody wants to admit it. A couple of people grumbled or something. Or I've had a situation where going out into public distributing books, I was once in San Francisco on the street, and I was meeting people as they'd walk by, and one person was walking by, and I greeted him, and he pretended that I wasn't there. And it was an existential strain. It actually hurt. It hurt. I looked down to see if I was still there. And I felt hurt. And when people don't respond, it's difficult. It creates an energy, a dark energy. And that's the material world. Krishna's reaching out. He's enveloped us in his own heart, this which is the sky. He gives opportunities in every way possible to call us to just show some devotion to him or make a gesture towards him. And then people make a philosophy that says, well, I'm not even a person, and there is no God. And that's why the material world's so dark and why it's so hurtful, the whole material energy. Have you ever walked on the street and you're walking by a person, you're going one way, they're going the other on the same sidewalk? And have you ever had a conundrum of whether to look up and make eye contact? It's not a rhetorical question. I'm asking if you've ever done it. It's happened, right? Or in an elevator, let's say you get an elevator, there's only 2 people in there, one of them's you. And then you're wondering, should I look up or not look up? And so that's the material world with God, with Krishna. Krishna's right there. He's far away and he's near as well. He's within the heart and he's enveloped us in the sky. And he's also available to us just by calling out to him just one time. Krishna. What do you think? Put your hands up and say Krishna. All right. Do it like there's a forest fire. 1, 2, 3. Krishna! As Srimad Bhagavatam says, Apana samsritim goram yanama vibhishogranan tata sadyo vimucheta yabhipeti swayam bhayam. If you're ever afraid, Bhagavatam says, just say Krishna. And he's right there. So this creation is a heartfelt creation. Everything here is arranged to bring us closer to Krishna. He's reaching out to us at every moment, and he's there within our heart. Gajendra mentions when he offered prayers to Krishna after he got a crocodile on his leg. If you've ever had that happen, then you know what it feels like. He called out even before he knew who the Supreme was. And the demigods heard his voice and they said, that's not for us. And the Lord heard it and he came down and he rescued Gajendra. And in his prayers, Gajendra said, you're never lazy about answering my prayers. You're always there attentive. So if we turn towards Krishna, he'll immediately respond to us in such a way that we'll feel his presence. And that's Krishna reaching out with his heart. One of the ways is through service. Atashri Krishna namadi nabhaved grayam indriye sevamukhi hijevado swayameva spratyada. The first service is to use the tongue and chant Hare Krishna. As today, when we are distributing books in the world famous Nottingham, we'd ask people to chant the mantra afterwards. And when they'd repeat the mantra, some of them say, I know it, and they'd say, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. They'd do part of it, and then some of them, they'd look at the card and they could do the whole thing. And I was just remembering how Krishna is so available to everyone through his name. He's directly there. And even one gesture that one makes towards Krishna, as he says in the Bhagavad Gita, Neha bhakramana shosti pratyavayo navidyate swalpam apyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. That he never forgets that. When it comes to his devotees, he's extremely attentive to them. A verse in the 9th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, in the 9th chapter of verse Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Samoham sarvabhuteshu nami dvesho stina priya ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya maite teshu chapyaham. That he's giving everyone an equal chance, and he remains neutral until somebody turns his or her attention towards him. But then he says, I'll embrace them. Ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya. They're in me and I'm in them. Intimate. As we're driving here today, we're reading the story of Sudama when he was requested by his wife to go meet Krishna. He's your old friend from school, and just see what might happen, because they're so poor. And she was struggling to serve Sudama because they didn't have any money. They didn't have any means at all. And when he finally agreed to go, he went reluctantly, but he went thinking, I should see my old friend. And he knew he was the Supreme Personality of Godhead as well. He arranged through a neighbor to get some very simple offering, just a little rice. So when he made his way to Dwarka and he met with Krishna, Krishna was so welcoming to him that he invited him in the home. He greeted him with all respect, bowed down, washed his feet, fed him. And then they talked about the ways in which they had been in Gurukul together. And before Sudama was to leave, Krishna said, I think you've brought something for me. He was so reluctant to give the gift that he had brought. He felt embarrassed by it. It was paltry. It was some rice that was not even in good condition. But it's all he had. And he kept it in a little pouch. And he was thinking, even if he demands it, I'm not going to give it to him. So Krishna, smiling, grabbed it. And then he took some of the rice and he ate a palmful. And he was about to take another when Rukmini, who is the goddess of fortune herself, grabbed his hand and said, no, don't take another. Because if you do, I'll be so obligated, I won't even be able to fulfill my obligation for responding to him for that gift. Meanwhile, Sudama, slightly embarrassed by the interaction, departed for his home. And on the way, he felt grateful that Krishna didn't give him anything. And he thought, he knows not to give me anything because I would become puffed up and I wouldn't be able to utilize it properly. And I'd forget Krishna. He's so kind to me, he thought, to not give me anything. And when he reached his home, he saw, instead of a ransacked cottage, he saw that it was an opulent palace. It was better than the kingdom of heaven, accompanied by servants, and then his wife came out. Sudama stayed the same so she could recognize him because everyone had transformed into more opulent versions. And she approached him and she offered her obeisances. And Sudama lived there using everything sparingly but all in the service of the Lord. So what's notable in this story to me, two things. One is that Sudama was attached to renunciation, and Krishna was so kind to take away his renunciation. And what actually changed the heart of Sudama was that he noted that Krishna felt so obligated to him, and Krishna expressed that he couldn't sufficiently reciprocate with him for the gift he had given. After all, he barely gave it. He hid it, and Krishna had to take it away. But then Krishna felt that this gift is so great, all I'm giving him is all the wealth of the universe, because that's all I have, and that's not enough. That's not even close to enough. And when Sudama sensed that, that's when his heart changed, and he was no longer attached to renunciation. It was the last vestige of his attachment in this world. And for the pure devotees, those who are sincere, anyone who's sincere and wants to come to this position of only wanting Krishna and only wanting to have a heart-to-heart relationship with Krishna, then Krishna makes all the arrangements so that the devotee can completely surrender. And I heard Prabhupada saying something about this the other morning when I was listening to one of his lectures. And he said that I never wanted to be a sannyasi. And I did not want to go out and do this, but Krishna forced me. And he said, he quoted, Yasyahamana Grinnami Harishe Tad Dhanam Shanai, Krishna's own words in the Bhagavatam, where he says, when I When I favor a devotee, I take away all his opulence. And in the story of Sudama, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur mentions how the clouds receive worship from the farmers. And they feel so insufficient to reciprocate this kind of worship that the farmers give to the clouds, because the clouds are supplying life-giving water, that they only rain at night. Because they're embarrassed to rain in the day. This is his poetical rendition of what Krishna felt like when he was reciprocating with Sudama. So, Kamva Dayalum Sharanam Brajema, the ultimate statement of Uttama and Uddhava, in the third canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam was, who would surrender to anybody else? After all, nobody can reciprocate in this world like Krishna can reciprocate. And he gives his heart completely to the devotees, even when they give the slightest indication that they would like to do something for him. And when devotees realize this, then they've realized the great secret of life. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita so plainly, Bhoktaram yagatapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suridam sarvabhutanam. We have to finish each other's sentences. We'll try it again. All right. Yeah, it's the only sense of peace one has is when one comes to this conclusion that everything for Krishna, Bhoktaram yagatapasam, and Sarvaloka Maheshwara, and Krishna owns everything. I have no property in this world. Everything's paraphernalia to be used in service of the Lord. And Suridam Sarvabhutanam. Krishna is my best friend. So he's full of heart. He's heartful. Everything he does for us is heartful. In fact, Brahma comments when he says, Tattenu kampam susamikshamano bhunjana evatmakutam vipakam. The devotee becomes so sensitive to Krishna's reciprocation that he feels that even in apparent reversals in this world, that things may seem like they're not going our way according to our plan, and they see that that's Krishna's a great mercy upon me. He's reciprocating, bringing me closer to him. And if one can live that way, then Sadaya Bhak, one inherits the kingdom of God. So this is the great project of life, is to feel Krishna's heart and connect heart to heart with Krishna. There are various ways that Krishna extends his heart to everybody through Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. I received Back to Godhead magazine many years ago when I was sitting in my room in suburban Lafayette, California, minding my own beeswax. And there was a knock at my door, and my friend Richie Corsa gave me a Back to Godhead magazine. And I became enamored of that and read it over and over again, and it led me to Hare Krishna. And I always think back to who thought that up and who deliberately made sure that a magazine made it to Lafayette Valley Estates in an obscure place in California. It was Srila Prabhupada. He's manifestation of this mercy of Krishna, that he wants to envelop us with his heart. He has enveloped us with his heart. I mean, that's the sky. Next time you look at the sky, I hope you look at it differently, because if you remember, he's really hugging us. He's trying to reach out to us in every possible way he can. And then he sends the great devotees who come to us in very practical ways and give us a hand. And then we have the sadhus, who are hopefully plentiful wherever we go. And just by association with devotees, we're nurtured. And then, of course, there's the Shastra, which is, as Prabhupada was speaking the other morning in a lecture I was listening to, he was saying it's a special Shakti of the Lord, the Shastra, because Krishna can come to us and speak to us privately, his own voice, in fact, in the Bhagavad Gita. It's directly speaking through the Shastra. That's miraculous. And if anybody sits with the Bhagavad Gita and just listens and reads, one will feel that Krishna is speaking directly to me. And this is his heartfelt way of extending himself to us through the words of the Bhagavad Gita, isn't it? Say yes. Thank you. So our sincerity is infallible. Krishna's love is inexorable. He's extending to us in every possible way at all times and places and circumstances. We need only remember that Krishna's heart is available to us. He's extending himself to us in many different ways. And if we try our best to reciprocate, as Krishna says, patram pushpam phalam toyam, Yomi bhaktya prayachati taraham bhakti paritam shnami paritatmanaha. He says over and over again, just offer me something with love. When I first got a Bhagavad Gita, after I got my magazine, I read that verse, and I was walking to school at Del Valle High School, walking up the hill to go to my third year in high school, and I had an apple in my bag for lunch. So I thought, I'm going to try this. And halfway up the hill, I took the apple out, and I held it up to the sky. And the only mantra I knew at that time was Om. So I said, Om, and I was offering it like that on the hillside. And I felt a direct reciprocation with Krishna that, yes, I'll accept that from you. And Prabhupada was the same way. Devotees who first came to meet Prabhupada would bring him things like feathers, seashells in San Francisco. And Prabhupada accepted them. He accepted a roll of toilet paper from somebody who came off the street in New York and made a little bit of a ruckus, although he had a good intention. But he barged in during the class with his shoes on. But he brought Prabhupada some toilet paper that she didn't use, but he accepted it, and he put it in the restroom. So this is it's an exciting opportunity that anyone who wants to feel Krishna's heart can just take a little drop of sincerity, or find it within. Try to search for it. If you can find one molecule of sincerity in your heart, that Krishna, I only want you, and I just want your heart, I want to give my heart to you, then he will reciprocate. And it's not a mechanical process, it's a heartfelt process, it's heart to heart. Those are a few preliminary thoughts, and I was just wondering if you would like to ask a question or make a comment to extend the conversation. Would you? No, Vaisesika. Just sit there and don't say anything more. And we'll sit there and we won't say anything. What do you think? What sparked you in any way? What association did you have with anything I said so far? Yes, you want to say? No? Oh yeah, keep it short. We'll try.
Thank you. I will try my best. 4 years ago I couldn't even speak because I was in a collision. I was just thinking, when you sent a reply back to Prita Devi Dasi, and it's not about me, by the way, because everybody can have obstacles, when I got pushed off a police bike. So you sent your own video to Prita Devi Dasi once you knew that I had come out of still in hospital, but I'd come out of coma, seizures, intensive care. I've heard this so many times from many people. I'm from Loughborough, by the way, and that's where the collision happened when I got pushed off a police bike.
Can you all hear okay? You can hear. Okay, please continue.
Okay. I've been practicing. I joined Leicestershire Police twice as a police community support officer. I used to see Swayam Bhagavan Keshava Sutapa those days. The consciousness connection was always there as a child. whether it's in the church, whether it's going to Watford since I was a child, to Bhaktivedanta Manor. What are your thoughts when someone's recovering from a traumatic brain injury and many people said, for example, if I don't recognise them in town, I've not ignored them, I just don't recognise them. And I used to say, it takes me 2 minutes. How do I know you? Do I know you through my PCSO job, or do I know you because you just know me? And then within 10 seconds, once they start telling me, I actually realise and recognise who they are. What are your thoughts about when somebody says, Rita, it is a miracle you are back, when everybody thought I was going to depart?
It's a miracle that you're what?
I'm back.
That you're back.
Because I was in Queen's Medical Centre in Nottingham, and everybody thought I was going to pass away.
It's for a miracle. Go.
And when we're talking about God consciousness, my case manager actually works for ACA Management in Nottingham, so she helps people with life changes. As you know, you spoke to my occupational therapist last year when you were in the UK. She was quite surprised I go to the church, for example. She didn't think, because I'm born in a Hindu Bengali family, that it's just Hinduism, even though she's new to chanting, new to consciousness. So my answer to that is I always went into the church as a child. I always, in my job, if I was free, would go and speak to the victor or help with victims. So yeah, basically, what are your thoughts about the fact that I'm here today? It's been many, many years I've been to a retreat. And I think when I spoke to you last year, I said, I actually forgot who you were.
Well, first, I admire your tenacity, as it's very difficult to lose that sense of who people are around you and to be able to interact. And you've been tenacious in doing that. And you've been going on with your sadhana and doing everything possible to make yourself, make your body whole again so that you can interact in ways that you were before. And secondly, it's the great struggle here in this world, because we're matter and spirit mixed together. And the very subtle soul has quite a lot of frustration with the material body. That's another observation. We want to do so much. In fact, we want to do more service. We want to remember more. We want to remember Krishna more. And oftentimes, we feel we're struggling against the body and the mind. It's a hard struggle. And it's miraculous also that Krishna has given us a body that can heal itself. Of course, we take therapies and so forth, but we can improve. We can get better on all levels. So I admire the way you're here sitting at this function and, taking advantage of it. And that's what you've been doing for years now, and just sticking with it. And obviously you're improving. So we can take heart from that. That's no matter what, we should continue and take the lesson as we go along, that anything we can improve, and any we can improve by Krishna's mercy if we go on with the process. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Okay.
Hare Krishna. So you spoke about heart-to-heart interactions, giving our hearts to Krishna, giving our hearts to the devotees also. And with that being said, I wanted to ask, what does that mean? How can we do that in the deepest way? And especially now that we're here on retreat, how could we make sure that our association and the connections we build here, can be there in the deepest way?
Well, there's going to be a talk by Guru Chandra Padma Mataji and Nirakula on the 6 loving exchanges. I know they're speaking tomorrow. What time? We advertise your class. You go, no, don't do it. It's specifically about loving exchanges, so I'm not going to go into detail about that, but that is really to take advantage of devotee association, is to, well, when I go into devotee association, I warn myself to try to listen as much as possible. It doesn't always work, but I try to listen and ask questions to devotees and observe them. And just by being around devotees who are serious and who are eager to make advancement in devotional service, I'm always amazed at how well they're doing and how much they have to offer. And I always feel improved. It's one of the reasons we travel. When we travel and we meet other devotees that are doing things that are amazing, then we feel inspired by it also. And of course, if you inquire from advanced devotees and give relevant questions, then that can be, you get an idea or some encouragement that can last your whole life from doing that. Hare Krishna. Maharaj, please.
Thank you so much for this talk. There were so many powerful points, and one which really hit me is you said when we reach out and somebody doesn't respond, it creates a dark energy. And then you said the whole material world is a dark place because Krishna is reaching out to us and we don't respond. That really hit me. That was such a, thank you for sharing that. And I guess I would just ask you, if there were 2 or 3 things we could do to just be more personal with Krishna on a day-to-day basis, what would you tell us?
Well, one is to express gratitude. One of my godbrothers told me while we were traveling, and this is an example of getting something valuable from from association. He said every morning when he wakes up, as soon as he swings out of bed and puts his feet on the floor, of course you're a brahmachari, I don't know how you're going to do that, but before he stands up, he says, "Thank you, Srila Prabhupada." And I said, I'm going to start doing that too. So I started doing that upon getting up, and then I started saying, "Thank you, Krishna." And I'd say it a few times until I was chanting Hare Krishna. I'd say, "Thank you, Krishna, thank you, Krishna, thank you, Krishna, 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 Hare, Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram." And then when I'm chanting my japa, I'm thinking, "Thank you, Krishna, thank you, Krishna, 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 Hare, Hare." Sorry, that's not a new mantra, and don't tell Jai, wait till Maharaj, I said that, but I'm just saying that this is to just express our gratitude to Krishna. That's something. And the other is, don't underestimate the power of reading Bhagavad Gita every day. It can be that I think, oh yeah, Bhagavad Gita, I've read that. I distribute Bhagavad Gita. I mean, meet people on the street. In fact, I don't hand Bhagavad Gitas to Indians because they're going to say, I already know Bhagavad Gita. My mother read Bhagavad Gita, and my grandmother memorized Bhagavad Gita. So as everybody knows, who's seen me distribute on the street, I withhold and I say, you already know this. This is not for you. And your mother read Bhagavad Gita, and your grandmother memorized Bhagavad Gita, and they were going, what do I say now? There's more to it. It's not like I don't give them a Bhagavad Gita, but that's it. But the fact is, millions of people know about Bhagavad Gita, but who actually communes with Krishna through Bhagavad Gita? I'm not saying that I have such intimacy, but it is Krishna's direct words. There's nothing like Bhagavad Gita in this whole world. It's Krishna speaking directly to us. As Prabhupada said, it's not just Arjuna. And as Lord Chaitanya said, with one arrow, that is the speaking of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna saved the whole world. What kind of book is that? And as I'm not reading it. What kind of book is that I'm not reading? And so that's another one, to really try to read Bhagavad Gita as if, and listen for his voice, that he's speaking to me when I read Bhagavad. When he says Mom, he's actually there on the page. And the third thing is to be active in offering the teachings of Bhagavad Gita to people in a very accommodating and gentle way, because when we see how it affects them, then we realize again and again its potency. Those are a few thoughts. Hare Krishna. Okay, it's only for the front row, I guess. Divyanam Prabhu.
Thank you, Maharaj. Hearing the story of the Sudama made me think that he had so many wonderful qualities, but yet seemingly, although it seems that he wasn't aware, but still there was some attachment he had for his renunciation. So I was just contemplating on it, that me as a conditioned soul have so many anomalies, so many attachments. What hope is there for like somebody like us or myself, that Sudama's level seems to be very high because he had so much love for Krishna. He had, he wanted to just go see his friend, and he was very spontaneous. But I wonder whether you have some words on what hope is there for like somebody like us who's by far, so far like somebody like Sudama. Right?
Great hope. You're doing fantastic service. Right? I mean, come on. We live in your house. You can't hide from us. We know what's going on here. Yeah, your whole family is absorbed in Krishna consciousness. You have Krishna in your house. You worship him every day. You're always thinking. I mean, one of the things Prabhupada talks about advanced devotional service, always thinking about how to spread the Krishna consciousness movement. So you and Verdarika and Sridham and Sachi, you're a transcendental unit for sure. And you go through life and through all the different phases, there are different eras in our lives. If you can just put together one whole lifetime through all the different eras, don't worry about how some of them are up or some of them are a little bit down, or you seem beleaguered because you got so many obligations. Just like Bhakti Rita was demonstrating, you just stay the course and go through all those different eras in your life, and the great miracles happen. Think about, how can you think about it? How can you have great hope? That was your question. Just think about how generous Krishna is with those who don't even like him. There's lots of people who don't even like him. Krishna's, okay, they could come too. I mean, that's why I quoted Putana, Ho Bhakiyam Stana Kalakutam Chikampsaya Payat Apyasadvi. She came to kill Krishna, pretended she was a nurse, and then Krishna said, yeah, okay. She offered some service apparently, so I'll accept her. And so Narada Muni, little child, single parent family, mother died. He took off into the great unknown of the world, and just tried to use what he had learned from the sadhus who stayed at his house 2 seasons. Even past the rainy season, they stayed because they thought he had so much potential. And then he sat in a forest, meditated. Krishna appeared to him. And then Krishna disappeared or withdrew his obvious presence. And then he tried to get it back mechanically. did Narada as a child. And then Krishna spoke to him and he said, you're a ku yogi, bad yogi. And he said that now you have to put together a lifetime, a whole lifetime of devotion to me. The hope, read the 8th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Attaining the Supreme. The whole chapter is about Krishna saying, don't worry. Just do devotional service. I'll take care of it. Because by contrast, he talks about everybody else who's trying to triangulate to get out of the material world at the right time, but they're not really that interested in Krishna. And for the devotee, he says, oh, you don't even have to worry about it. Just go on with your service. I'll take care of you. There's no issue. So just string together a lifetime where you're fully in service, one era after another, even if you think you're the worst at it of anybody, and you think, I can't concentrate my mind very well in my japa, I can't cook, practically people hate my cooking. What else? What other woes might we have? My dhoti doesn't fit right, I don't know how to wear a sari, T-lock's always crooked, I have envy in my heart. Yeah, just keep going, because Krishna's there, and we don't know. Prabhupada writes in the light of the Bhagavat that this lifetime is a chaturmasya-like existence. He gives the example of sadhus who stop during chaturmasya and they just sit in one place and do austerities. They stay in one room practically. You know how to do that? You eat off the floor. You just eat a little kit, not even kitri, it's havishan. It's got no spice. You put your hands behind your back and you eat off the floor once a day, all you can eat while you're down there. And then you let your fingernails grow in your hair. Chaturmasya, you know. So then when they get out, he says, after the chaturmasya is over, they don't know how much advancement they've made from their austerities till they leave the room that they were in. And then Prabhupada said, we're in a chaturmasya-like existence in this human form of life. You may not realize all you've done until you leave. I thought, devotional service so potent, you chant Hare Krishna one time, try it. Yeah, see, you can't even stop. I just said, chant Hare Krishna. You put a lifetime together of chanting Hare Krishna. Krishna says one time. One time, Ram says, Sakradeva Prapanoyas. If you one time say, I surrender you, I accept you, you chant one Hare Krishna, you're chanting every day, all day long, from the time you wake up till the time you go to bed, right? Just to finish your rounds. So, what's that? That's going to do a little damage. I hate to break it to you, but it's the way it is. It's almost like you take some medicine and you think, oh, it didn't do anything, I'll take some more. And then next thing you know, it's like, I think I took too much. So you're in a really good position. You're perfectly lined up. So just keep going. Always be hopeful. Let's chant a little because I have till 6:30. And since we're just warming up here tonight, and Maharaj said, the real thing happens in the hallways. And he told everybody to accost older devotees. So I need to save my energy. Would you like to sing a little? Yes. Like to dance? Yes. But not that much, right? On a scale of 1 to 10, where are you? Really? Okay, let's see. Okay, Bai, you ready? It's all in the beat here. And Abai knows it. It's a secret beat. I think I'm going to move up a little bit so I can see everybody on the other side. I don't need to see that. Hare Krishna. Radha Krishna bol bol, bolo re shobha. So this song is by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And in reading in the Sri Bhaktisiddhanta Vaibhav recently, I noted that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur used to make copies of this bhajan and distribute it so people could read it and become joyful in Krishna consciousness. So it's really something that's beloved of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, and every song that Bhaktivinoda Thakur ever wrote is a big hit. So here we go. Radha Krishna bol bol, bolo re shobai. Shishi Radha Krishna bol bol, bolo re shobai. Vaisesika diya, Shabna diya, Preche neche, Gorni thai. Hari Bol, Bolo Re, Shikareya. Radha Krishna Bol, Bolo Re Shobai. Shri Radha Krishna bol bol, bolo re shobai. Niche mayan bhoshe, jacho peshe, kacho haru bai. Hari Bol, Bolo Re Niche Maya Roshe. Hari Radha Krishna Bol Bol, Bolo Re Shobai. Shri Radha Krishna bol bol, bolo re shobai. Jiv Krishna das, Vishwas kole to artu korai. Just admit, I'm a servant of Krishna, and all your misery will go away. Hari Bol, Bolo Re Ji, Krishna Das. Hari Bol, Krishna Das. Radha Krishna Bol, Bolo Re Shobai. Radha Krishna bol, bolo re shobai. Krishna bole jabe, pulakta habe, jorbi anki boli thai. Krishna bolbe jabe, pulaka habe, jorbi anki boli thai. Get ready, put your hands up. Pulaka habe. Hari Bol, Bolo Krishna bolbe jabe. Radha Krishna bol, bolo re shobai.
Radha Krishna bolo shange chalo evangelika jai. We're only asking, come with us, chant Hare Krishna. Hari Bol, Bolo Radha Krishna Bolo. Hari Radha Krishna Bolo, Bolo Re Shobhai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Bolo, Bolo Re Shobhai. Jai Sakla Vipur Bhakti Vinod Bolin Jan Nam Jai. Jai Sakal Vipur Bhakti Vinod Bolin Jan Nam Jai. Get ready. Bhakti Vinod. Hari Bol, Bolo Re Jai, Sakla Vipur. Radha Krishna Bol, Bolo Re Shobhai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Bol, Bolo Re Shobhai. Okay, get ready, here we go. Jai Sakla Vipur Bhakti Vinod Bolin Chakra Nongai Jai. Radha Krishna Bolo Shange Cholo E Madhavika Jai. Radha Krishna Bolo Shange Krishna Purve Jabe Bulaka Have Jordi Bolita Krishna Jeev Krishna Das E Vishwas Kole To Nachi Niche Mayan Koshe Jacho Deshe Kacho Habu Bai Habu Jubu Shikadia Shodmania Peche Neche Doritai Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. More cowbell. One. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Vaisesika, harmonium. Abai, Madanga, cowbell player. For the kartal players, for the Hare Krishna singers, for the Hare Krishna dancers, everybody in Nottingham, everybody in London, all over the UK, all over the world, all over the universe. For Premanande! Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jai Jai Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Dear Srila Prabhupada, dear Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda, Shri Shri Gaurnitai, Shri Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman, Shri Shri Radha Londonishwara. Anybody else? Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Ji, Ji Giriraj Maharaj. If you so desire, please empower us at our Rise Retreat that we may open our hearts to Krishna, who's reaching to us and inviting us to come back to the spiritual world. May we please develop a deep yearning to always hear and chant about Krishna and to share what we've gained from the great acharyas and specifically Srila Prabhupada with the whole world. Thank you for considering our request. And let Yadabar Prabhu's movie become famous everywhere. And be seen by everybody in every language of the world. Everyone agrees with this prayer, in whole or in part. Please unmute and say Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpadabhrischa kripasindavevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Nandagodi Vaishnavini ki jai.
His Grace Vaisesika Prabhu came! His Grace Vaisesika Prabhu came! Wasn't that wonderful? That was just the warm-up.